Hey, what's up? In this video, we're gonna look at the marketing system that helped grow this soda brand 92% from an average of 26.8K a month in online sales to 53K a month over the course of about 90 days. So this is a direct-to-consumer soda brand that was doing roughly 26K a month through their Shopify store with $3,800 a month in meta spend and about $1,000 a month in Google ads, and some basic email efforts going out to a list of about 100,000 partly engaged subscribers. Right away, you can see that the overall return from total spend to total store sales is really not bad at all, but the problem was anytime they'd try to increase spend above and beyond this, results would tank and they'd start losing money. In addition to online store sales through Shopify, this brand also does about 40K a month in Amazon sales and really a decent amount of wholesale revenue every year as well. Now, quick side note, anytime you market your products, there's gonna be an overlapping effect on all sales channels that you really need to be aware of, but for the purpose of this video, we're gonna talk about Shopify sales only, since pushing D2C sales up to 75K by the end of 2023 really is their current goal. To get an in-depth understanding of where this brand was, we looked at number one, general branding and positioning information. This includes the overall value proposition, the usability of the site, the content they create and use to fuel the ads and position themselves against competitors, et cetera. Number two, we looked at their acquisition efforts by taking a deep dive into their paid ads on Meta and Google. And lastly, number three, we looked at how well they were nurturing interested people and retaining existing customers with email and SMS. As a brand that was fairly developed already, everything in regards to content, positioning, the usability of the site, it checked out pretty well. Their overall conversion rate on the site at the time was like 1.8%, which really isn't bad at all considering you're getting cold traffic in there. For the meta ads, despite using some good custom and lookalike audiences, we saw a lot of scattered efforts inside of the ad account, none of which really had enough budget to optimize. There were some sales campaigns, some lead gen campaigns, and ultimately just too much going on with too little budget to really be able to optimize and scale. The Google ads were made up of a PMax campaign and a branded search campaign, which is a good basic setup for a small store, but there were a few wonky things going on that needed to be fixed. This included their products getting flagged as prohibited alcohol items, despite being a soda brand. The campaign was only using one asset group as opposed to multiple. And similar to Meta, the budgets were not really sufficient for optimization and scaling. Email efforts were built through a tool called Resci, which is short for retention science. We found a regular cadence of campaign sending, which was good, a decent set of automated core flows that were already built out to follow up with people on common touch points. For example, an abandoned cart email, a welcome series, an abandoned checkout email, etc. But many of the flows only utilized one email per flow, as opposed to our standard of like 4 to 6 per flow. This system was bringing in roughly 15% of total monthly revenue, whereas we like to see stores sitting around 25 to 30% plus of revenue coming from email. Now let's talk about what we did with all of this information. The first thing we had to do was clean up the ad account and consolidate campaign efforts. We went from $3,800 a month spread across 8 different campaigns into one sales campaign with a broad audience ad set and a repeat purchaser ad set. We eliminated any lead gen campaigns altogether, and right away this was helping results get better. In addition to cleaning up the account, we made some new ad creative to test against previous top performers. We have a running list of top performing ad formats that we like to test, and very few of these were being utilized. So after testing most of these formats, including a few different UGC ads, our 2 top performing ads were just simple product feature ads with a basic graphic and a first-time order offer. Normally UGC takes the cake, but not in this case. For Google, we simply upped the PMax budget from $75 a day to $100 a day and cleaned up all of the account errors regarding policy violations. For budget, we found that unless it's a branded campaign, Google really needs at least $100 a day and lots of time to really show you what it can do. And lastly, for email, we migrated their efforts from Resci to Klaviyo because we feel Klaviyo has better functionality when it comes to segmentation, personalization, integrations, and reporting. And we just feel it's the best platform, but it's also just the one we're the most familiar with. But once migrated, we rebuilt the design templates to drive more conversions, to be more mobile friendly and more visually appealing. We continued the cadence of campaign sending, but also made sure to get a full core flow map put in place, kind of like this one, whereas before they only had bits and pieces of this. These changes increased email revenue from 15% of revenue to 28.7% of revenue. All right, so let's talk about the results. The month prior to these changes, revenue was at $29,846, although if you were to average out the rest of the year, average revenue was like $26K a month. So month one revenue, we jumped from 29K to 33.5K. Month two, we were up to 43.4K. Now 3 months into a better system, they're at $52,942, which is a 92% increase from where they started, and they're on their way to hitting their goal of profitably doing 75K a month by the end of the year. If you have any questions, know of a better way to do this, or want to be the subject of one of our strategy audit videos, we'd love to hear from you. And lastly, if you ever want a second set of eyes on what you're doing or want to explore working directly with our team of e-com ninjas, head over to shopinova.com and we'll be sure to get you taken care of. Thanks for watching, guys.